For whatever reason, the media loves to focus on the unemployment number, which is below 4% and continues dropping. Now, that sounds great on the surface, but it really doesn't mean a whole lot. And I'm going to break that down here. So, first of all, as Robert Reich in The Guardian points out, the official rate hides more troubling realities. Legions of college grads overqualified for their jobs, a growing number of contract workers with no job security, and an army of part-time workers desperate for full-time jobs. Almost 80% of Americans say they live from paycheck to paycheck, many not knowing how big their next one will be. And that's the problem. Wages are too low. So you could have a great unemployment number and you could have a full-time job, but if you aren't making enough money to live, then that full-time job really doesn't mean a whole lot. And this is something that has only gotten worse under Trump. So the Trump GOP tax cuts for the rich that were supposed to somehow help the poor and the middle class has actually done the opposite. So this from Bloomberg. Wages were supposed to rise after Trump's tax cuts. Instead, they've fallen. And as you can see, they have fallen quite a bit. And this is also in direct relation to anti-union legislation. So this is something here that I really want to drive home. Wages are directly tied to union membership rates, whether you are part of a union or not. The existence of unions in the country help all wages. So I have a couple graphs to show you that. So this first graph here shows how union membership rates affect middle class incomes as a whole. So as union membership rates have decreased, the middle class share of incomes have also shrunk, showing that whether you're in a union or not, the power of labor unions are inextricably linked to the middle class's share of income. And this next graph is even more obvious. So New Deal era policies like the National Labor Relations Act of 1935 led to the top 10% taking a smaller share of income. Then in the early 80s, as Reagan-era economic policy and corporate deregulation began to hurt unions, thanks largely, of course, to corporate money in politics playing a bigger role in public policy, the share of income once again began to favor the top 10% and has only continued getting worse. So yes, a living wage is important. Medicare for all is important. Tuition-free college is important. But in order to actually maintain a standard of living, we need worker solidarity with unions as a major part of improving the lives of everyone. And we are beginning to see some glimpses in support of that. So Bernie Sanders is a politician that has been out on the front lines in solidarity with unions, fighting back against companies like Disney who are paying their employees starvation wages. And we're also seeing teacher strikes all across the country where teachers are fighting for proper pay and benefits for the work of raising the next generation. So I just thought that it was important to share this data because we get so focused on certain data points and don't really question why we are actually looking at them. So the unemployment rate is one of those numbers. It's a number that may sound like it's important, but if the jobs that these people have aren't paying them enough to live, then ultimately the unemployment rate doesn't really matter.